xMed live stream. Welcome back to the GuideWell Insights Lounge. We hope you've enjoyed day 3 so far. I am Jessica DeMassa and I'm here with Dr. Daniel Kraft. He's back again to give us an update on what happened during the conference today. So I'm going to ask you right off the bat, Daniel, what happened? What happened on day 3?
Well, it's day 3 at Exponential Medicine 2016. We kicked off with Peter Diamandis, our co-founder of Singularity University, who shared some of his work he's doing, bringing technologies together with Human Longevity Incorporated, and the opportunity for folks today to sort of get their microbiome, genome, full body MRI done, and how that might be informing their own health for prevention, diagnostics, or therapy. We then went into a session looking at the future of what's healthcare education. What's the future of a doctor? How do you educate them? We had Clay, who's the dean of the new Dell Medical School, brand new medical school in Austin, that is rethinking medical education and how that might move forward in really interesting ways, because medical education can't sort of be in the same mindset as it's been in the past. After Clay, we had a talk from Thomas Getz, who's an incredible entrepreneur.
Yes.
One of the former executive editors of Wired. I think about design thinking and engagement. He has a company called iodine.com. It helps people sort of, what do they really feel about when a drug is worth it or not? And how do you make things sort of sticky and engaging and designed for health? So that was a terrific session. Then one of our major core supporters and faculty, Lucy Engeland, from the Netherlands, from Rabout Medical Center in Eindhoven. They brought 40 amazing entrepreneurs from the Netherlands every year, this year included. And he shared some of his thought about how we really make sure we have patients included, which we've had in our conference here, nurses included. How do you think about innovating at scale, not just in the Netherlands, but populating that? He has a great energy and mindset. I think it's catalyzed a lot of our exponential medicine thinking. It's been certainly a mentor and a friend and a colleague in this whole process.
His fan base is blowing up our Twitter feed all
Yep,
day.
Tony Young, who's also back, I think for his 3rd or 4th time, is one of the leads for innovation at the National Health Service. He shared what they're doing with NHS to move things forward in empowering ways, and his whole new community of clinician innovators, which was catalyzed from Jack Kreindler and others who've been here.
Right.
Now has a whole crop of young and not so young doctors innovating in the clinic and outside, reinvigorating their interest in health and medicine, and he brought 2 of their innovators to the stage. So that was a kind of nice impact of exponential medicine. We moved after that session. So much has gone on, I have to remember.
I know.
A little bit about global health. How do we democratize healthcare around the planet using whether it's a mobile phone or drones to deliver elements? We had Dio, who is a amazing entrepreneur out of one of the poorest parts of Africa,
right,
and the work he's done with the Village Healthworks. Ralph Simon kicked off and moderated that session along with Roland Discroll. There's some really interesting work to kind of bring healthcare to one of the poorest, least accessible parts of the world. And we closed that session with Ramesh Raskar, an incredible entrepreneur and innovator who's on faculty, runs a lab at MIT Media Lab, what he's done with optics and beyond for eye diagnostics. He shared some of his work in that amazing high-tech world and how they're sort of spurring innovation in India and beyond.
Okay.
So that was our morning.
That was your morning.
That was just the morning. What did we do after that? Then we went basically to the beach where we did our famous Scrubs photo.
Talk to me about the famous Scrubs photo. What does this tradition mean to exponential medicine?
Well, it started at our first programs in 2011. It was like, it's always fun that if you're not a doctor, play one on TV or dress in scrubs. We wanted to foster a sense of community and fun, so we put everybody in scrubs. We started with our first 80, 90 folks, and now every year we put everyone in scrubs, take a group photo, and now that's grown and grown and grown. We're kind of maxed out at our sort of 600 participants here.
Wow.
But we went out to the beach on a fun picture. We had drones flying by taking pictures.
I love the drone photos.
Everyone gets to wear our wonderful blue scrubs, and that's a reminder that, sometimes you put on the uniform of health innovation. This is a reminder for when folks go home, they're not just pajamas. Someone wear them in the clinic. So that was the morning. A great lunch break, a lot of breakout sessions from astronaut Scott Brzezinski to our Medi Awards. We had about another 10 companies pitching. We'll hear the award winners later this evening. And then we went to this last session,
right,
future of the brain and mental health. How much possibility is there in that realm? So amazing talks from Arsha Vahazada, who's a psychiatrist, pediatric psychiatrist, all the things we can do now with mobile and sensors to redefine mental health. We had I thought a mind-blowing talk from Tony Bossis, who's a psychologist at NYU, about using mushrooms, psychedelics to help folks in end-of-life care, and how it makes their whole experience much better, and how that can be used everything from PTSD and beyond. There's a little a mindset shift there. Will Henshaw shared his work at Focus at Will. He's a famous musician now, blending technology and ability to help focus using our technology. What else do we have in that session? So we looked at the future. Our core faculty, Divya Chandra,
Divya, I was just gonna
shared
say.
some of the amazing work, brain-computer interfaces to optogenetics and optogenomics, starting to impact healthcare and the brain and neuroscience. So that was a taste. We could do a whole conference on just the mind and the brain and mental health. So we had a taste there. And we finished off with a little session on Beyond the Planet. Scott Krasinski, an old friend, a veteran astronaut, 5-time shuttle astronaut,
Right.
been to space station many times, was on Everest, he's been at the bottom of the ocean, in volcanoes, shared some of his thoughts about how do we innovate in remote locations and how we can bring that back to more standard care on the planet Earth.
Oh my gosh, Daniel, that was just a mouthful, and I don't think you took a breath the entire time.
Yeah, we still have another...
I know, I was going to say, we're moving into the evening. We still have a lot ahead. What are the highlights for what's ahead?
So what's coming up is a bit of the future of therapeutics. What's happening in pharma? How do we rethink about the future of pharma? Is Pharmageddon coming? Are we going to disrupt pharmaceuticals?
Oh my gosh.
Or not? We're going to hear from our major partners and sponsors, Genentech, about some of the things they're doing, and them asking us to help solve problems that may have, or patients may have, as they help across healthcare journeys. We'll hear from our friends at Click Health and Leonard Siegel about some of the ways you can think about patent life and patient life and speeding innovations. And then we'll close off our evening with our Medi Awards. And here are 4 finalists.
How exciting.
And what's happening in most disruptive, most convergent, best pitch.
Can't wait. And then tomorrow, we've got unbelievable as it may seem, there is a tomorrow after this, but we're drawing to a close here. What's on
so
tap?
the arc of this is to expose people to all these exponential technologies, how they're converging, everything from genomics to robotics to drones, different fields, big data. All these things are converging, so I'm super converging. The trick is then how do we get those to reality? And it takes entrepreneurs. And many of these folks who are doctors, nurses, patients are entrepreneurs, and then we need to bring these innovations to reality. So we're going to have a session on exponential entrepreneurship, lessons shared from folks like Naveen Jain and Amy Baxter about their journeys in entrepreneurship. We're going to have the amazing investor and entrepreneur Vinod Khosla share what he's doing in helping catalyze and investing in the future of healthcare.
Wonderful.
We'll have a session on a wrap on how do we think about the quadruple aim, helping technology help physicians and patients, help physicians as well, not just be overwhelmed by technology. We'll close up with some interesting elements from Jack Kreindler, maybe a little music, and send folks off hopefully with a mission to help catalyze healthcare innovation around the planet.
Wow. So Daniel, if you have a moment, I'd like to ask you just a couple of last questions here. So how do you feel like the conversation has evolved from last year's exponential medicine to this year? Is there anything new that's been popping up for you?
I think there's a lot of fragmented technologies. A bit of the theme, at least in my mind, is now connecting the dots. We've seen machine learning and AI be applied to make sure, it's wearable data or omics data. How do you bring that to the point of care? The ability now for sharing my quantified self data into my medical record at Stanford and my physician to see that is starting to come to play. So I think part of it is also now globalizing this. A lot of the connections and partnerships and collaborations that have been spurred here over the last 5 years are starting to come to reality. We had Leroy Hood the other night who now met the head of innovation, or head of data, and the head of innovation for National Health Service. They're going to start collaborating. So it's hard to see where that might go, but as technology and collaboration can speed up and be crowdsourced, that's part of the conversation here as well.
I want to ask you specifically about super conversions, because apparently you said this in an opening session, and now everybody, that is the buzzword of this exponential medicine, everybody has been dropping super convergence on me here in the Insights Lounge.
Hashtag super convergence.
Right, hashtag super convergence at Dr. Daniel Kraft. So can you explain to me the idea of super convergence really quickly for everybody watching on the live stream?
So our theme here is exponential, things getting faster, cheaper, better, more available at an exponential rate. And the convergence part, we put them together.
Okay.
And so when things get super fast and cheap and easy, the fact that you can do AI and download and partner with, let's say, IBM Watson on your smartphone, that you can lease Amazon server farms for low cost, that you can 3D print a medical device and now mash them up. So your little 3D printed medical device that talks to your smartphone can have AI built into it, that you can do that as a high school kid in your garage for maybe $100 or less, is where super convergence is happening, and the ability to crowdsource that and get that in the world. We heard yesterday from a Stanford trained dermatologist, Michelle Longmire, about how you can now literally yourself, without any real knowledge, program a clinical trial app and now distribute that. And we're going to help that community, our community, do that. We've heard about our power of the X Prize and super converging new solutions and technologies to address low cost and distribute early cancer diagnostics. So super convergence is bringing together not just technologies, but ideas, the crowdsourcing, the platforms, and new ways that we couldn't have imagined 5 years ago.
How do you think, what is the next big thing to be disrupted in healthcare?
The next best thing is maybe the the system itself, we give these amazing technologies and solutions. They have to get in the hands of doctors, nurses, patients, clinical trials. And there's a lot of barriers, a lot of misaligned incentives, a lot of data hoarding. I think part of the theme of exponential medicine at Singularity University is to crowdsource that, encourage folks not to be just blood donors or organ donors, but become data donors and unleash and unsilo their mindsets, their information, make maker labs in their hospitals, their clinics. We have the amazing Tom project going, T-Conal Makers, going on next door. They're creating solutions right now for folks with disabilities and other needs to get that mindset out there. So now it's about translating this into the clinic and not just having as a project or an app or as a single device, but getting it into practice and impacting millions of people.
So do I have time to ask Daniel one more question? Great. So I guess we can keep going. So I want to know, Daniel, I've been asking everybody this, almost everybody that we've been interviewing in the Insights Lounge, because I feel like, a big part of exponential medicine, there's a lot of hope. It's hopeful, it's looking towards the future. So what are you most optimistic about for the future of healthcare?
Well, one of them is that you don't need to be a doctor, a nurse, a biotechnologist, a pharma person to be innovating in healthcare. We've had here at our conference in the past Jack Andraka, who won the International Science Fair for a low-cost way of pancreatic cancer detection. We had Olivia Halsey yesterday, an 18-year-old, who last year won the Google Science Fair for a paper-based way of diagnosing Ebola. So the ability for high school kids now to be playing in this and maybe getting these with collaborations here into the real world is what I think is hopeful. And the fact that people can get out of their own little mindsets and hopefully by Singularity University, exponential medicine, our conferences on finance and others, kind of get out of their normal way and help others do that. Have exponential organizations that work and operate differently. So what I'm optimistic is sort of these new mindsets and helping some of this catalyze here, and we'll see where it goes.
Is there a particular exponential technology that you feel is going to lead the way in terms of transforming healthcare?
Well, the theme is that there's no one technology, but
right.
I mean, just take one that's becoming AR, VR meets the chatbot. You could have your own personal avatar that looks like your doctor or your mom or you,
right?
That you can interact with on your smartphone with her VR, AR. We had an amazing demo today, actually, from Alex Henry, having his own avatar there helped him change his behaviors, right?
Yeah.
That, I think, coming together on mobile devices for almost for free, because behavior change is hard, and behavior change, if you hit your behaviors, that can impact mental health, risk of cancer, depression, all these things. That's where I think is sort of that super convergence. It's no one thing, it's the way they can come together in magical ways.
Okay. And I wanted to know also, we were talking a lot of the disruption that we're hearing about, not only with technology, but we've been hearing a lot of people talking about how the payment model and that the way the system is structured needs to change.
Yep.
So talk to me a little bit about your thoughts there. I mean, what needs to be disrupted in the system as it is right now to really help some of these more innovative technologies take hold and move us forward?
Yeah, it is about innovating the systems as well. The Chief Medical Officer, Becca Dickinson, spoke yesterday, Ellen Strawman, about how do you reinvent and change the systems, whether you're a large company, how do you innovate internally, to how do you change the VA, the Kaisers, the Geisingers, the NHS systems, and how do you incentivize them to do value-based care. We've had the FDA here, Bakul Patel, and others be meeting and getting help to think about how do you do an FDA pre-check and speed innovation, just like we have a pre-check for folks in the airports, how do we bring some of those faster? So I think the systems need to change, regulatory, reimbursement, the payers, the mindset of the individual to be empowered and not wait for disease to happen, from intermittent and reactive sick care to continuous and proactive health care. I think that summarizes the whole arc of exponential medicine and a lot of what's happening here.
That's excellent. So in terms of what's next for this evening, I know our keynotes are coming up. Is there anything that we need to be particularly mindful of in terms of paying attention to theme-wise to help kind of support some of the things we've been talking about here?
Well, our closing keynote tonight is our friend and colleague from Singularity, Mark Goodman, the founder of Future Crimes. He's our chair of policy, law, and ethics. Now we have all this data, your genomics, your digital health information, all these elements. How do you keep it private, or how do you share it and make it useful in clinical trials? We talked about blockchain on our first day and how that's being applied to healthcare.
Right.
What about these privacy elements?
Yeah.
So the dark side meets the dark, all these things, CRISPR, 3D printing, 3D print a gun.
So stop there for a second. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that with some of these exponential technologies that are being brought in, there is this dark side to it. So is there anything we should be afraid of in your perspective?
We need to be, I don't fear, but we need to be mindful that CRISPR can be used for good or for bad, for weaponizing drugs. You can 3D print a stent or a medical device, but you can 3D print a gun. We can use private data from our genomics to help ours and others' health, but how do we use that and in safe ways? What happens when someone hacks your genome or hacks your pacemaker or who owns this data? So Mark Goodman's going to hopefully scare us a little bit, but also give us some insights about how we can do to protect that information and still unleash it in smart ways. How do we help our friends at HIPAA not make that a law or an element that helps tamp down innovation, but can be used to spur it as well?
As far as integrating some of these new technologies and techniques into the broader healthcare system, I know that there have been a lot of challenges in terms of the mindset of the old system. As far as what a health system should invest in moving forward, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think health systems should invest in new ways to look at new technologies, bring them in quickly, not to just do evidence-based practice, but data-based and practice-based medicine, because the ones who are going to win, we had the tagline, you want to Uber yourself before you're Kodak, meaning
right.
Create your own Uberization before you become a Kodak or a BlackBerry or RIM. They need to be thinking about where the curve is going, where the rewards are going to be, not always waiting for some new incentive to come along, but help spur them themselves. Simply prescribing a blood pressure cuff or a wearable for someone with heart failure,
right.
or a connected scale, or a chatbot app that can help them stay on top of the medications could be hugely impactful, better than a blockbuster drug might be. So I think the systems need to innovate and folks need to take some bold steps and get out of their comfort zones.
Right, we were talking today to Zaina Kayat, and she was talking about exponential entrepreneurship, which I know is something she's going to be talking about tomorrow as well. What exactly does that mean, exponential entrepreneurship?
Having the exponential and convergent mindset and using technologies and being appreciative of, today the whole genome's $1,000. I just had mine done by Veritas Genomics. Maybe in 2 years it'll be $100.
Right.
How do we use that? When you're entrepreneuring and building your vision for your company, plan for that $100 genome. Plan for that micro device that may be $1 million today, might be $1,000 tomorrow. And how do you spur up using other processes, speed up the process so it doesn't take 10 years to get a new drug device or platform to market?
What's the advice for a legacy healthcare organization in terms of integrating that mindset in? And then how does that differ from the advice you'd give a startup?
For some larger organizations, it's a challenge, right? It's like, who moved my cheese? There's a lot of corporate antibodies, so quarter to quarter. I would say get your own little X lab in there. Empower a team to bring these things in that isn't thinking quarter to quarter, that can be your sort of, canaries in the coal mine to see what's coming, what's a warning, what's an opportunity, to have little SWAT teams and maybe a unit of your hospital that can start to pilot these and show there's value. Collaborate with other large organizations that might be competitors to bring these to market in a more collaborative, fast way so all ships rise together.
And then as far as the startup is concerned, do they have to do anything different to be an exponential entrepreneur?
They need to understand there's many different marketplaces. What might work here in California might not work in the Netherlands or Africa, but sometimes could work in Asia or European markets. So don't don't be too fearful of regulatory. Get out there and imagine it, help create it, and bring others into that fold.
The ideal future of health from Daniel Kraft. What is your ideal vision for the future of health?
I mean, a little bit of it is that we'll be having our own proactive, insightful information, GPS for my care. Your GPS and guidance for prevention and wellness is different than mine. That when you might have an issue, whether it's a sprained knee or diabetes, your personal GPS device will be informed by the crowd and help guide you in smart ways to continue learning. Just like a Tesla car keeps learning from other Tesla cars around it, we can have that same mindset so we can speed up discovery, we can all be participatory, and move to that sort of P4 future that Lee Hood talked about in health around the planet.
Yeah, that's a great future to strive towards. And I know I'm guessing you have to get back to the main
We're starting our
stage
next session in 5 minutes.
Okay, so I will let you go, Dr. Kraft. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Insights Lounge. As always, we appreciate your insightful recaps, and thank you for letting me pepper you with a number of additional questions. I really do appreciate that.
Thanks to you and Guidewell for coming and doing this.
Thanks so much.
Right.
We are going to, I think, bring on our next guest. So thank you, Dr. Kraft.